So you're looking for the best headphones for travel. You're looking for great noise canceling, great comfort, great sound quality, great battery life. This is the video for you. Hey folks, Norb here. I do a fair amount of travel and these are some of my favorites. The headphones that I'm going to be talking about here are some of the ones you've probably seen while traveling yourself. There's some of the more popular ones on the market. There are a couple here that I call into question, and I'll round out the video with a list of the ones that I would recommend from this list, plus any that are in the market that you should consider. These are not full reviews. If you want to see full reviews, I have them linked in the description below. If you decide to buy any of these, I have links in the description below to the product. All right, so let's start with the AirPods Max. The first thing you're going to notice about the AirPods Max is going to be the price. There's that too. The first thing you'll notice is the price. It's $550. You can probably find them for about $450 out there. So it is the priciest headphone that I have in this whole list. With that said, the first thing is I really like the sound and the noise canceling. So both of those are fantastic. The noise canceling will block out a good chunk of anything that you would experience in an airplane. Engine noise, some conversations, things like that. Plus the sound canceling, it adapts to the positioning in your head. If you have them on and you either have glasses on or goes below your jawline, oftentimes with other headphones, that breaks the seal, meaning that the noise canceling and even some of the sound, like the bass, won't be quite as good. With the AirPods Max, the headphones actually calculate and adjust for all of this. Now, one thing I want to know that when you're traveling, when you're taking off, they end up getting this weird popping noise during the takeoff process. And it's not a huge deal, but it is something to go ahead and keep in mind. Just as the noise canceling is good, the transparency mode is fantastic, second to none. When it comes to sound on the AirPods Max, here is a little clip from a Twitch stream that I was part of just recently with my friend Panda.
What is happening? I don't understand how sound's supposed to work this way. Spatial, that's the word I was looking for to describe it. It doesn't feel like the sound is up against my ears. If I wanted to walk around with like a soundtrack for my life, this is what I would wear. Put it on, get your attention to it. Put it on, come on. Let's come. I'm gonna live in here.
These are... So she likes the headphones apparently. So yeah, you can see by her reaction that she really liked this. When it comes to battery life, Apple advertises 20 hours on these. I've actually experienced more than that. One big problem that I have with them though is that they don't turn off. They're supposed to drop into a low power mode. They also don't have USB-C. They use still Lightning. So you're gonna have to carry around a Lightning cable when you're traveling. The other thing that I have an issue with really is this case. It's very nice. It feels nice. It doesn't do anything for the headband itself. If I'm going to throw this in my bag, maybe I throw my keys in there and it gets ripped, for example. What I did is I just got a third-party case. I've had a couple of cases in the past. My big issue has always been bulk. Luckily, I was sent this one by WeWoo. WeWoo is a maker of mostly travel-focused products, and with this particular case, I happen to like it because it's about as compact as I've seen any other case for the AirPods Max to be. And when you're traveling, every centimeter counts. Overall, I really like the AirPods Max as a general use headphone. My biggest issue when it comes to travel, these weigh about 384 grams, I think. So they are on the heavier side. Because of that, normally you'd expect that the weight is on the head. What I feel is the clamping force. I like the hinge and the mechanism. So the hinge is good. You can tell that these are well constructed, but the pressure is enough that while I'm traveling, I always get headaches, so I actually never travel with the AirPods Max for that reason. From a general use perspective, I highly recommend them if you're using an Apple product. I don't recommend these at all if you're using Android. Let's talk about the Sony XM5. Now, these are the single best active noise canceling headphones on the market today. Oh, it goes very quiet. And that's a great thing about the noise canceling on these. It's like the world just disappears. When you're traveling, that is just a dream state for the most part. When you're on airplanes, as you're taking off, you're going to find that as the cabin repressurizes, as you're getting to different altitudes, the headphones readapt. It's because it has something called adaptive noise canceling. What that tries to do is that it tries to adapt the noise canceling to the situation around you. And they do a good job of that, but whenever you're traveling, whenever they do that, it sounds like the noise canceling stops for a second and then it starts up again. And it happens once in a while. It doesn't happen all the time. It happens enough though that it does become annoying to some people, so keep that in mind. The Sony XM5 also have a transparency mode, so you'll be able to hear what's going on outside. It's not bad, it's not the best out there, but it's pretty good all on its own, so I'm happy with that. Sound is very much the Sony type of sound. Now they do have an equalizer, and you can go ahead and tune it up to sound just absolutely fantastic. You're going to get better sound on Android than you would on iPhone with these because these handle LDAC, and LDAC is the best way for you to get the best sound today. Battery life is about 30 hours. If you turn off all the special features, it'll be about 40 hours. Plus, they do also have a quick charge. With that said, the comfort I thought was fantastic, but this is a very personal thing. These are among the lightest of all the headphones that I have listed here. They feel very comfortable on your head. At least they did for me. Now, a lot of people have an issue with the headband because it is round, and so it does press to a point above their head. This is something you want to watch out for. They do have taut ear pads, meaning they're a little bit on the tight side. They're a little bit narrow. Some people don't like that. I happen to be okay with it because it reduces the total amount of ear heat for me. I do have larger ears, so my ears actually do touch the ear pads, but they don't touch them very much. Some people complain that it does hurt their ears, and I get that. There's other options here that would be better for you in that case if that was you. But overall, for me, I'm super happy with the comfort when it comes to the XM5. Overall, I really like the Sony XM5 for travel. They're actually one of the ones that I tend to take on a regular basis. I recommend these on Android more than I do iPhone. Now, when it comes to the case, it's on the large side. These normally sell for about $399. You can usually find them for about $260, $250 on the low side if you're willing to hit the refurbished market. Next on my list is the Sony XM4. This is a previous generation, obviously XM5, XM4, and it's very different than the XM5. So if you don't like the XM5, you might actually really love the XM4. Noise canceling on the XM5 is better, but the XM4 is no slouch. I would put it on par with the AirPods Max. So it's very, very good, very, very competent. The one thing in the XM4 that I think is superior when it comes to noise canceling is that it is not adaptive noise canceling. And here's what I mean by that. Adaptive noise canceling is fantastic. With these, you can adapt the noise canceling to the situation around you using the app. It's a manual process. The big thing is that when you're traveling in an airplane, the noise canceling won't change, which means that it's no resetting. To that end, I think that most people will actually like the XM4's noise canceling a little bit better than the XM5. They're not my favorite when it comes to sound. I think that the XM5 has slightly better tuning by default. You can use the EQ in the Sony app to make them both sound better. They handle LDAC, which means that these are going to sound better on Android than they do on iPhone. When it comes to battery life, they last about 30 hours. Again, the same thing as the Sony XM5. If you turn off all the features, I think you can get up to 35 with them, and they do have a quick charge. The XM5 is slightly better when it comes to that. And now both of these come in at about the same weight. They're super light, so you're not going to feel them. And the clamping force, the force of the headphones on your head when you put them on as they squeeze, is very, very light on both of these. The other thing is the ear pads. Now, this is a part where I think my opinion differs from a lot of people. The ear pads on the XM4 are very plushy. They're very wide, very comfortable for that reason. If you are sensitive, however, to having stuff pressing on your ears, that may be an issue. I find these to be warmer. I find this to be uncomfortable after about 45 minutes. That said, the XM4 are $349 and can be found in the aftermarket as a refurbished or even used for $150, $160. Finally, the case. Now with the case, as you can see, it's much smaller. I think it's generally well designed. If you're traveling a lot, you don't want something to take a lot of space, and these are fantastic for that reason. Overall, the XM4 are headphones that I do not mind recommending on a regular basis to pretty much everyone, even though I don't love them, and I think they will usually like them. Go Sony. Next on my list, I have one of my favorite headphones of all time, the Bose QuietComfort 45. These have been my absolute favorite headphones for travel. They are light, super comfortable. Their noise canceling is absolutely fantastic, but the noise canceling, it's either on or it's transparency mode. There's no in between. The case is compact and simple, hands down the most compact case that I have on this entire list. And if space is your primary priority, then by all means, you got your winner right here. I would not hesitate at all to recommend these for somebody who's traveling. And in fact, if you're going to travel, this is a very, very safe bet. Now, it is not necessarily a fancy headphones, meaning it doesn't have a lot of features. For example, some of these have on-ear detection. So if you take them off, the music will stop. Well, that's not the case here. There's just not a lot of features. There's comfort, there's being quiet, and then there's the sound quality, which is absolutely fantastic, I think, on these. Or rather, the tuning is very, very good. These will sound better on iPhone than they do on Android. There's an actual EQ in the app, so you can add more bass or add more treble for clarity or whatever it is that you want to do. But on the whole, I don't feel that I need it when it comes to these. These are just so well done. Super comfortable, low profile, so you put them on, and they're almost forgettable. And that is a good thing. I wouldn't wear these down the street to try to show off, hey, I'm cool and hip because I have headphones. These are kind of the headphones that I would wear on an airplane saying, hey, I just want to relax and have a nice trip. The battery life on the QuietComfort 45 is about 24 hours, so it's not bad. The QuietComfort 45 are $329. I've seen them refurbished down as low as $199, which is a killer deal when it comes to these, period. Moving on to another Bose product, here we have the Bose NC700. These are more premium than the QuietComfort series, but these are also a lot older. I think these were originally released back in 2018, so they're due for an update. They're still absolutely fantastic headphones. The noise canceling on these I think is better than the QuietComfort 45. You can actually change the level of noise canceling that you have, so you can have max noise canceling, medium or low, or non-existent. So when it comes to features, hands down, the NC700 is better than the QuietComfort 45. Now, these come in at $379, and the sound, some people argue that it's better. I think it's about the same as the QC45s. Now, these do sound better on iPhone than they do with Android, and that's because of the codecs involved. When it comes to comfort, I'm not a huge fan of how these feel. First of all, it gives me a lot of ear heat. It puts pressure on the ear itself. And when it comes to the cushion, while it is soft, I don't know that I would call it plush. One thing I really don't like is the design itself. If I wiggle my head around, I hear this. That's a problem. They're doing it right now. That's a problem. One more thing about the NC700 is battery life. It has the shortest battery life of anything here. 17 hours, and honestly, that's kind of stretching it. So while these are excellent headphones, and I'm sure a lot of people love them, I don't like the NC700. I will say I'm a big fan of the case itself. Now, notice that these don't fold in, so these have the larger case. Comparing them to the Sony XM5, you can see the size difference. It's a win all around when it comes to the Bose headphones and just your packing space. And to that end, I think that Bose does such a great job for travelers. Up to now, I've mentioned all of the headphones that I see on a regular basis. I see Sony on a regular basis, Bose on a regular basis. I'm starting to see more and more of the AirPods Max. What I don't see very often, and I'm starting to see more and more of, is SoundCore. Let's go ahead and start with the Life Q30. So SoundCore made these to be a great budget pair of headphones. These come in at $80 full price. I found them as low as $60. In the sub $100 market, I don't know that you can find any better for the price. These are actually some of my favorite headphones to just wear around the house. The sound is decent enough, and there's an in-app EQ that you can use to make the sound even better. These are going to sound better on Android than they do on iPhone. They are extremely comfortable, just well designed and well done. Bravo SoundCore. It doesn't have a ton of special features, like on-ear detection is missing, sure, but the ones that matter for travel: battery life, 40 hours. Noise canceling. For the price, it's surprisingly decent. The case, it's smaller than the XM5, although not by much. The comfort, these are great plush ear pads, and I find that the ear heat is not all that bad with them. And I love this headband, by the way. Probably the softest headband of all these, and I'm a huge fan of that. Now, when it comes to noise canceling, yes, these are the worst in this list, but it's not significantly worse. I think these are the best value for the dollar you're gonna get on this whole list, and arguably the best in the market for travel headphones. So when it comes to the Space Q45, I really like them. When it comes to the battery life on the Space Q45, you're looking at 50 hours, and that is just absolutely bonkers. It is fantastic, hands down the best on this list. And again, at $150, also one of the cheapest on this list. SoundCore promises that it blocks 98% of all noises below a certain frequency, and that's fine. When I've worn them on flights, they work absolutely fine. For $150, no complaints here. The overall sound is fantastic. They have an app that you can go ahead and modify the sound. There's not a ton of detail and definition with these, but still, for most people, these are just going to be absolutely fine. I highly recommend them. If you're on Android, you're going to get absolutely fantastic sound out of these, because these handle LDAC, which means that you are going to get the best sound possible on Bluetooth today. Build-wise, again, they're a little bit better than the Q30. There's a little bit of clicking here or there, but it's not bad at all. When it comes to the case, you know, the Space Q45 is slightly smaller, but not by an appreciable amount. Overall, I like these a lot. When it comes to traveling, I highly recommend these. Finally, there's one more that I wanted to go ahead and talk about, and I see this one all the time when I travel, but it's one that I really just don't recommend for a number of reasons, and that is the Beats Studio 3. Don't get me wrong, I love the way they look. When it comes to design, these are the best looking headphones in the market today. But where do I begin? So let's start with the noise canceling. So these were recently priced at $350. You can find them much cheaper right now because, of course, the Studio Pro just came out, but the Studio 3, these specific ones I see on Amazon right now at $263, I think, which is still way overpriced. Don't spend a penny more for them, because when it comes to technology, you're not going to get much. There's no special features on these really when it comes to on-ear detection. It does connect to the Apple ecosystem pretty well. So it does a quick connect. You know, once you're connected, it shows up on all your systems. When it comes to that, that's absolutely fantastic. But you can find better noise canceling under $100. The second thing is the sound. I'm not gonna knock on it for, I was gonna say I was not gonna knock on it for the sound, but no, I'm gonna knock on it for the sound. People talk about it being bass heavy. It is. It's the old classic Beats sound, which is fine, except I literally have $50 wired headphones that sound significantly better than these. They are very comfortable. The headband is a little bit, problematic, but these are good for life in general. If you go to the gym with them, these are great for the gym. I actually really like these for the gym. But when it comes to travel, they're just far better options out there for the money. And when it comes to the battery life, well, these are 22 hours, so it's not bad at all. But still, if you're going to think about buying Beats headphones, yeah, get these if you can find them in a really, really good deal if you're gonna go that route. Otherwise, any on these lists will serve you far better when it comes to travel. I do want to give them props for one thing, is the case, except super thick. Yeah, they have a little space here for the carabiner, and they actually come with a carabiner in the package, which is something none of the others do, but it doesn't make up for anything else. I'll be honest, it just doesn't. All right, so what are the takeaways here? If noise canceling is your primary priority, then the Sony XM5 is going to be the best bet, period. Second place, I would put the AirPods Max behind that, possibly the XM4, and maybe the NC700. If sound is your top priority, then I would argue that the AirPods Max is going to be your best bet when it comes to sound, that or any of the Bose options. If compactness is your top priority, if you're not going to be wearing them all the time, then hands down, the Bose options are going to be the best. If you're on a budget, either the SoundCore options are going to be just absolutely fantastic. I would sway people more towards the Space Q45 because I think the noise canceling is better there and the sound is better there. But the Q30 is just, for $80, it is just such a phenomenal deal in my book. I absolutely love them, and I cannot recommend them highly enough when it comes to that. Now, there are others that I've tried for travel and I absolutely love for travel, but I can't recommend them because the active noise canceling just isn't that good with these. Specifically, I'm thinking of the Sennheiser Momentum 4 and the Focal Batiste. There are a couple of other options that you may want to try out and investigate. The Bowers & Wilkins PX8, as well as the Bang & Olufsen H10. Anyway, tons of links in the video. I'll even put a couple of items right over here for you to check out. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit like. If you want to see more of this, hit subscribe. If you want to see more of this content specifically, go ahead and let me know in the comments below, and I'm more than happy to oblige. With that, please travel safe and have an excellent day.